I understand you're not ready for this, and in a 12-man league, you don't have the room right now, but it looks like we got another rookie breakout of brewing. We want to get ahead of the storm. I want to cast the siren so you know when it's time, because we want to be a little bit early watching the numbers on some of these young players. So I will use this series, because it's a deep dive series, to cast that beacon of light, because you need to know who these players are. And today we are looking at rookie wide receiver Elic Ayomanor, and he has been doing some good things. Training camp, week 1, first ever NFL game, posting some good numbers. We're going to deep dive him today. Good, the bad, the ugly, strategizing for fantasy football, all formats, redraft, dynasty, DFS, everything in this video. Click that button. Stop missing out. We're doing deep dives every day with the You Need series. On top of that, player rankings. We're looking at every single game, identifying the matchups. Then we're helping you with the waiver wire. Everything's here. It's free. Click that button. Stop missing out. Elic Ayomanor got 7 targets, 3.3 fantasy points, 7 targets in his first ever NFL game. He's been rising the depth chart. He fell in the draft to the 4th round, but this is a wide receiver that was speculated to go on day 2, was one of the more decorated route runners, and there were some mock drafters before the draft pegging him to sneak into the 1st round. We're looking at a wide receiver here that could be ascending, that could be a target for the long term. And this is a long-term play, not a tomorrow play, so I'm not really even looking at week 2, week 3 here. I'm looking at the long term here with Elic Ayomanor. He was a 3-star prospect coming out of high school. Had 26 offers, though. Cal, Notre Dame, Tennessee. Big-time schools. Big-time schools. He should have been a 4-star. He should have been a 4-star with that amount of offers coming his way. Recruiting sites should have put more respect on his name instead of having him ranked 122, because that's a lot of offers for that low of a rank, and that's a low star rating for how many schools were after him and what schools were after him. But we are looking at his 2nd year, 2023. 1,000 yards off the rip, 6 touchdowns. Next year, 831 yards, 6 touchdowns as well. 125 total balls caught over the course of his career there at Stanford. You're looking at his average depth of target, 14.2 and 14.1. He's getting deep targets downfield. Yards after the catch, a little low, but he's getting deep targets downfield. Deep balls give you less room to get yak, but you're looking at the market share. Broke out at age 20, 2nd season, 1st season on the field though, 45.1% market share of the team's passing production. That is elite. Anything above 35%, 30%, elite. 36.2% the following year at age 21, last year, elite. You're looking at the lower passing stats, the counting stats, they're lower because they don't throw the ball as much. But when they have to throw the ball, they looked at his way because he was the passing offense. You're getting 45.1% share. Most wide receivers coming out for the draft, the top-end prospects, aren't hitting that number. Usually the top prospects, high 20s, lower 30s, roughly on average for a season or 2. First season really on the field, 45.1%. Next year, 36.2%. He can be dominant. That game against Colorado, you need to pay attention to that. 294 yards, 13 catches, 3 touchdowns. We're going to come back to that. But Washington, Oregon State, North Carolina State, TCU, everybody got it. Everybody got it. He only had 2 seasons out there. He did not need an extra season to showcase what he can do. He only needed 2. He only needed 2 seasons. 3 at college, 2 really on the field. He did not need that much to build up that resume. Going back to that Colorado game, look at what happened. Who's that guy? Who's that guy? He mossed up Travis Hunter. That is the story about his prospect profile. This is the guy who mossed up Travis Hunter, put him on skates, murked him up on the field, and then you go look at the tape from the other games. He's creating separation. He's very technical. He can sell routes. This is a good wide receiver prospect. We fall to the 4th round. Many people were pegging him to go 2nd round, 3rd round. Not much further than that. Going in day 3, let alone later in the 4th round, not early 4th round, is a head scratcher during the draft. And we're like, maybe there's something we didn't see. Maybe so. But then we get into training camp. We get in the preseason. And at the end of preseason, we climb that depth chart. We're starting wide receiver. We win the job. 6'2", 206. Good size, adjusted athleticism, posting good speed scores. You're looking at the depth chart here. Calvin Ridley's the man in the offense. We know this. Tyler Lockett's also there. He's the crafty vet. But week one, we came out and played. But looking at Calvin Ridley here, older wide receiver, 30 years old, can get targets. He gets deep targets downfield. He's also very volatile in fantasy football. You're looking at 2023 till now. He's very volatile. He'll splash probably a couple times this year, but also have a lot of low weeks. But still, he's getting rave reviews from Cam Ward. Cam Ward's looking his way. He drew a lot of targets. On top of that, Tyler Lockett. He's on the last leg of his career. We're almost 33 years old. And it's him just being out there, being the crafty vet, getting deeper targets, getting work out of the slot, getting that opportunity. But again, Tyler Lockett, his career is on the last leg. You're looking at the routes ran on Sunday's game. Calvin Ridley, 31. Elic Ayomanor, 27. Tyler Lockett, 24. He's out there most of the time. He's out there on 80% of the dropbacks. If you round that up by half a percentage, you're looking at Ayomanor here as being a cog in this offense. One route in the slot. That being said, we're on the outside. We're working. When we do 3 wide receiver sets, Tyler Lockett is going to the slot. He's staying on the outside 99.9% of the time. You're also looking at the air yards. He's getting deep targets downfield like we saw in college. That's why we looked at the college numbers, because that's a bigger sample, and we're seeing that with Ayomanor here. 133 air yards and 8 out of 19. That's going to regress as we get more games under his belt, because obviously they're going to push it to him in some shorter situations. But you're looking at really here, 8.68 out. That should increase throughout the year, because historically he's usually over 10 easy. Elic Ayomanor, though, they're pushing it to him downfield. He's got ball skills, and he's going to be getting that volume, especially if they're in some shootouts. Now you're looking at some of the things he's doing on the field, advanced metrics here. He was the first read 7 times on Sunday. That's 11th among wide receivers. He's in the top 12 among all wide receivers when it comes to first read targets. First read target share, 12. Deep targets, 7. Motion rate, he's not getting moved around too much. He's stationary on the outside, which is fine. Deep target share, 66.7%, 10. All these numbers are free on playerprofiler.com. Just type in the player's name you're searching. Go check it out. It's a free site. This is not advertisement. I am just sharing what I know with you guys so you guys can do more, and that's really my job, is just to share. He ran 27 routes, 53rd among wide receivers, almost an 80% route participation rate, which is always a good sign when you're looking at wide receivers. 7 targets, a 28% target share, 16th among all wide receivers. All these numbers are cooking. Air yards are 5th among wide receivers, ranked 12th in air yard share, 45.2%. He ranks 3rd in targets among the rookies with 7. T-Mac and Hunter are the only ones ahead of him. He beat out Mecca Ibuka. Now, when it comes to production, fantasy, real numbers, they beat him. But we're watching the numbers here. We're watching him from afar. Now you're looking at what this team did last year. Ridley was the only 1,000-yard wide receiver. Nick Westbrook has had games where he was fantasy relevant with a 12% target share. You could definitely see the target share for Ridley, considering he's getting older, reducing. He also had an 8 out of 15.4. You could definitely see that reducing. That's pretty high for a wide receiver, especially his age. And some of that going to Elic Ayomanor. Not saying he's stealing the work, but that deep target role could get transitioned, especially with the new quarterback. You get Cam Ward, a rookie quarterback who does not care. And on top of that, he played at Washington State. He played at Miami, where his best wide receiver got cut from this team. So he's looking at these wide receivers as massive upgrades. So he's just excited, tossed in the rock. They were rocking Tyler Boyd, DeAndre Hopkins for a couple games, and Treylon Burks was there. They look like they had a massive upgrade to this roster with Elic Ayomanor, considering you had Nick Westbrook and Tyler Boyd there for most of the season. you're looking at the schedule, and imagine it's going to be rough this whole year. I don't think it's going to matter because you got a rookie quarterback learning the game, learning the speed of the game. Elic Ayomanor's already gelling well. It was a rough matchup against the Broncos and some of these games where it's a little bit higher scoring or when Ward starts getting more comfortable. You might see more targets flow his way, but he's already starting to simmer in the pan, starting to get hot right now due to what we heard in training camp and preseason. We saw a little bit in week 1. He's going to be on the field running a lot of routes, seeing targets. He's going to be a guy you're picking up off waivers somewhere down the line. Somebody's picking him up off waivers somewhere down the line. When you're looking at this for Dynasty Fantasy Football, he was already drafted. He's less liquid on the market. You should have got in on him right when we got the news on the depth chart change, or you should have just drafted him while he was on the cheap in your rookie drafts. Right now, you're probably going to pay up a little bit to get that move. I'm not giving him away. I'm not going to give him away for that, but when you're looking at daily fantasy football and you're trying to create some stacks, this is a team that's very hard to do that with. But if you want a cheap wide receiver as a random throw-in, this could be it, as there's potential in all these matchups where he gets 5+ targets, deep targets downfield, and if he brings in one of those deep balls, that could be a splash performance. You just need to watch right now in redraft. DFS, that's where you might get into a little action with him due to the targets and deep balls, because you want to gamble on that. And that's more for large tournaments when you're setting a ton of lineups. If you're just doing 1 or 2 lineups in tournaments, then you're not doing that. That's too risky. But your exposure needs to be spread out with a lot of lineups in a large tournament. If you're doing cash, it's not worth it. That's too risky. If you're doing Dynasty, he's not as liquid. People ain't coming off him right now. They saw the targets. They might try to get him on the high right now, and you may have to do that if you're looking for a wide receiver. But when I'm looking at Elic Ayomanor, the time to buy was in preseason. I think that's going to start jumping the shark as we get deeper into the year. If he gets banged up, you need to start moving some chips over his way, see if you can catch him on the low. But that's what I'd be doing right now. You don't need him. Wide receiver 2, Titans. I'm not buying Titans wide receivers right now. This is not going to be a very impactful offense to get consistency from these wide receivers. Calvin Ridley is going to soak up the targets. They're going to be in a lot of murky game scripts here. But when you're looking at the Titans, you're also seeing a shift here with the offense with Cam Ward. You're also seeing a shift with Elic Ayomanor. You're seeing 2 veterans between Lockett and between Ridley, 62 years old. When you add their ages up together, you're looking at Elic Ayomanor here. He's broken out whenever he touches the field. He's already doing that right now at the NFL level with 7 targets. That's hard to do as a rookie in your first ever game. And it's going to be a ramp-up period. But if you want to get in early, you want to strategize, I think daily fantasy football, random game scripts throughout the year, you need to watch his numbers. You need to pay attention. Outside the scope of 12-team leagues right now. But he's going to be in that scope soon once some of these game scripts flip for the Titans. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.